You know, there's a time in football when players were given numbers 1 to 11, and just based on numbers, you could guess who plays which position. It was a simpler time those days. Even to this day, there are certain perception of numbers that we take for granted. For example, you can guess that the guy wearing number 1 is the goalie, or the guy wearing number 10 is probably some big shot. And we can all agree that certain shirt numbers are iconic and they can carry a certain responsibility for the athlete. But in the past few years, all kinds of numbers were given out. Some iconic and some others, quite bizarre to be honest. When I was researching this, I came across some interesting stories behind some of these weird numbers. But the question is, if we had to pick a top 5 out of weird numbers, who's gonna make it to the list? Well, stick around to find out, because we're gonna look into some bizarre numbers and the story behind them. Right, so let's think about a scenario. Imagine that you've been a world-class player in your prime. You then retire and come back to football as a player manager and self-appointed captain. Why wouldn't you give yourself the number 1 jersey? That's exactly what midfielder Edgar Davids did at Barnet. Why? Well, according to himself, he wanted to start a trend. Not sure if it caught on, but kudos for the attempt. It didn't bring him any luck though, as he was sent off 3 times in 6 games. And seeing a midfielder wearing the number 1 jersey was quite odd to be honest. And if you thought that was weird, well, you're in for a treat for our second pick. For a few World Cups, Argentina assigned their squad numbers in alphabetical order. So for the 1978 World Cup, midfielder Norberto Alonso was given number 1, with goalkeepers Hector Bailey and Ubaldo Filol given numbers 3 and 5 respectively. Mario Kempes was given the iconic number 10, and they would go on to win that World Cup in 78. So you can't say it didn't work for them. Argentina would do the same for the next World Cup as well, except for the number 10, which of course went to the one and only Diego Maradona. Moving on to our number 3, we're gonna go to the Scottish football, where Moroccan striker Hisham Zerouali, also nicknamed as Zero, was playing for Aberdeen. And when your nickname is Zero, which number could you possibly choose? Exactly. Thankfully for all of us, the Scottish and English FAs were quick to ban anyone from wearing the number 0. And before we go over our final 2 picks, a lot of time goes into making these videos, so your like and comments really mean a lot to me, and it really helps out the YouTube algorithm as well, as this is a young channel. So, when you look at the number 10, you expect them to be a playmaker, someone creative, maybe even a goal scorer. At a time when Totti, Del Piero and Baggio wore the number 10 in Serie A, a certain Cristiano Lopatelli was wearing it at Chievo Verona as well. And how's that interesting, you ask? Well, Cristiano Lopatelli was a goalkeeper, and the reason why he wore the number 10? Apparently it started as a joke, but he won a bet and was given that number. And I saved my personal favorite for my last pick. But before we go on with our last choice, which strange number do you think I should have covered? I'm planning to do a part 2 video for this subject, so let me know in the comment section below. So, we've already looked at 4 pretty weird squad number stories, but Ivan Zamorano has to come on top by a long distance. Initially, he was the number 9 in the team, with Ronaldo, the Brazilian of course, wearing the number 10. But Roberto Baggio's arrival caused some shuffling around and he was given a problem. You see, Baggio was given Ronaldo's number 10, and Ronaldo, being the best player at the time, took the number 9. Not to be prevented from being a proper number 9, what did Zamorano do? Well, ever the innovator, he picked the number 18 and planted a plus sign between the 1 and 8. Get it? 1 plus 8? Genius. Quite ridiculous, but genius nonetheless. So, what do you think about today's top 5 picks with their stories behind? There's a whole world of stories behind this beautiful game. Some amazing ones, some weird ones, and sadly, some tragic ones as well. Which is why I started this channel to tell stories like this in the way that I do. Is there a football story that you'd like me to cover in a video? Let me know in the comment section below, but be nice to each other. I'm Football Drawn, and I like to tell football stories with comic and drawings. If you enjoyed this video, check out the rest of the channel as well.